Hey, what's up? It's the Political Brown Kid here, and I would like to thank Movie Girl 8648 for engaging with me and actually leaving a comment on one of my Hollywood in black and white videos on the sci-fi propaganda video. The Hollywood in black and white sci-fi propaganda. If you want to check that out, check it out on my channel. It's in the Hollywood in black and white series that I've been doing. And she actually requested that I do a Hollywood in black and white on the movie or movies Dune, Dune 1 and Dune 2. So if you are a Dune follower, they actually did, or a Dune enthusiast, Dune was a big book back in I think the 80s. I think I was a young kid at that time, but it was and they actually did an original Dune movie. It was done, I think, once or twice before, but this new iteration of Dune that actually looks pretty good. I think the new technology suits the movie better. Today's technology, that is. And Zendaya, and if you're familiar with Zendaya, she's a black female. She's in the movie. And we're going to kind of talk about all of that. This summary shouldn't be too long, so I'll just put that up there because there's really not a lot going on in the Dune series that I can look to. If you notice the pattern with my other movies that I'm looking at, there's normally kind of a theme where you don't see a nuclear family for blacks, but you see the nuclear family represented for white people. And when I say the nuclear family, I mean you'll see a white husband, a white wife, and a white child or children. And a lot of times in movies or television shows that they do for us, you don't really see that. You'll see either a motherless parent or a fatherless parent, or there's just total dysfunction. You also see it where they'll have the black female being the head of operations, and they show black males in more of a weaker, submissive role. He's more dysfunctional. She's more organized. So a lot of that is kind of out of place in this movie. So let me just jump right in instead of digressing a little bit. So in Dune, if you're not a follower of Dune, it's about prophecy. Once again, there's always about prophecy. It's about spice. They're mining for spices on another planet. And then you just have this conflict between groups, and it's all taking place in space. It's a relatively slow moving movie. It's not like Star Wars or Battlestar Galactica or any other sci-fi movies that you typically see. I would kind of put it in the category of Interstellar, if you're familiar with Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey. It kind of moves along that pace. But the observations that I'm going to make, and once again, Movie Girl 8648, check out her channel and shout her out if you get a chance. Always nice positive words when you're interacting with people, so please be respectable or respectful. The only observations that I really come to in this movie, and this is also a prevalent theme in a lot of other movies, is this. Number one, Zendaya doesn't make the movie's predominantly all white. So it kind of fits in with that. If you watch my original Hollywood in black and white called Sci-Fi Propaganda, the one I just did in June, late May, June, you will notice that Carl Sagan, he was on the Johnny Carson show. He basically made a statement and he said that it's very funny or interesting that into the future, all throughout space, it's an arrogance of man, particularly white man or white people, that they're the ones controlling and dominating space. All of the creatures in space look like them. You don't really have a representation. Basically, it was like saying you don't have a representation of like blue people, green people. You really don't have a representation of black people or Asian people. When you look at these sci-fi movies, it's a bunch of white people out in space. And once again, you get that with Dune. Dune is predominantly white. All of the main characters and the focal points in the movie are white. The few black characters that you do see is the black guy from Tower Heist. If you're familiar with the movie Tower Heist, he's an older gentleman with freckles on his face, kind of like blonde hair, black guy. He's in there. He has more of a subservient, just kind of like role. The men, particularly the black men, particularly, are more subservient, and we'll talk about that too. But all of the lead characters are pretty much white. That's what they are. You have Jason Momoa. He makes an appearance. He's a non-white character, but come on, man, Jason Momoa. He's kind of like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. They both play They try to pass as white. The movies and the interactions that they have are pretty much white, even though they are not white individuals. But when you see them, that's how they project themselves on screen, as non-racial or as white. So that's one aspect of it. When I'm saying you're just looking out in space, so it kind of proves Carl Sagan correct that they just dominate space. The other thing that's prevalent, and I've talked about this in all of the other movies as well, is you have Zendaya kind of being the interaction or love interest of, once again, a white man. And, she doesn't make the appearance in Dune 1 until the very end, and then she's prominent in Dune 2. But once again, they pair the black woman up with a white man. Also, what you notice in Dune is that you do not see those characters interact. You don't see any black women interact with any black men. Once again, they continually do this in these movies. When Zendaya she first makes her appearance, one scene, and this spoiler alert if you don't want me to spoil it, fast forward. But I'm not going to provide too much detail. But there's a black guy. The group that Zendaya belongs to, they're indigenous to the planet that these people have come to mine spices on. So let me tie this. Before I make that point, let me back up to this other point. It's all about, before I make this point about the black women not interacting with the black men, I'm going to have to make this other point first. When you watch Dune, the new theme that I've noticed that's different from the other reviews that I have done is this. In Dune, I would say that there's the colonizer effect that occurs in this movie. They play on the colonizer theme. So what I mean by that is this. When you watch Avatar, and I'm talking about Avatar 1, what is the theme? You have a white male he's crippled, he's in a wheelchair, he's a paraplegic, I'm assuming. He's in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the waist down. They create this alien body for him to live in and transfer his mental, his memories and feelings, and so he can transfer all of his being into this quote unquote avatar, thus the name, and then he can go and live and interact on this other world and interact with the natives. Then he meets up with Zoe Saldana's character, and then all of a sudden she first hates him, she hates his guts, but her father basically forces her into the hands of this white man to teach him their ways. She falls in love with him. She basically rejects the native guy who loves her, right? She rejects him and he's hurt by it. And then she falls in love with this white guy who's inhabiting this fake alien body. And, he saves them and becomes their savior. And he becomes the prince or the chosen one, the one that, the prophecy spoke of. And he frees her people. You look at the movie The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise in it. Once again, Tom Cruise is a white Caucasian male. They go over to Japan. I do believe it was Japan. He gets captured. They train him to become a samurai and to fight in their ways. He learns their customs. He gets the Japanese girl. They always get the fine girls, right? And, he becomes this hero in their world. You look at, I think, movies like, I don't know if it was Save the Last Dance, but you'll see like white movies where some white girl is joining into or immersing herself into the black hip hop world, and then the black guy falls for her, and then she becomes the star. You see that in Breakin' 1 and in Breakin' 2, where you got Boogaloo Shrimp and Shabba-Doo, aka Turbo and Ozone, and then they get this white girl to join their crew, and the white girl just fits right in, and she handles everything so well. You see this over and over and over again, and you also see this in the movie Dune. Dune, once again, you have the white individuals come to this planet to mine for spices, and then they meet the inhabitants or the indigenous people, and Zendaya is one of them. And then he becomes the person or the chosen person that the prophecies predicted. He learns their ways quickly and he rises to the top in their hierarchy. She falls in love with him. She just is so enamored with him. And once again, too, like I keep telling y'all, when they show these black on white, when they show these black women, white men love interactions, they make it so that you can tell when she's deeply hurt. Like when he's in a fight, he's going to get into a fight scene at the end of Dune 2, Part 2, at the end of Dune Part 2, the second, the sequel to Dune 1. He's going to get into this fight scene at the end. There's always a climatic fight scene, and you can see the passion in her eyes. When he basically, before he even gets into the fight, he tells the other leader, I'll let you live, but I'll take your daughter's hand in marriage. So he basically shuns Zendaya, and he doesn't do it because he doesn't love her. He does it for the good of, I guess, the people. So he's like, I'll take, he was going to take the other guy's daughter as his bride and make her the queen, and he would rule. And you could see the hurt in Zendaya's eyes. They play the soft music to add the extra feelings to make you feel that emotion that she's feeling. She feels it several times. You can see the love in her eyes. They always do that. When you watch a regular movie, when they're showing black on black love, you get, number one, they don't even create that in mainstream movies, black on black love. They don't have it. And they're not going to make it that powerful and that loving, but they do it once again in Dune. So just pointing that out. So it's that colonizer effect where he comes in and once again saves their world. It's always the white man. He not only saves planet Earth, but he goes out and saves space on, I forget the name of the planet that they were on, Arrakis or Irakim, one of those planets. He was on there. And once again, they saved the whole entire universe because the white man is just the world, the galaxy savior, right? So getting back to the other point where you don't have the black and white, the black male, black female interactions, once again, you do have, that is prevalent in Dune. When Zendaya first meets the lead, the white character, it's a black guy who's supposed to be he's in Zendaya's group, but him and Zendaya never interact. They never interact. So the black guy challenges the white guy, because he's like, you're an outsider, and he basically challenged him to a fight to the death. Zendaya doesn't talk to the black guy. She doesn't talk to the guy in her group. She walks directly over to the white guy and says, he's a great warrior. Because she doesn't think that he's going to win. She's just like, he's a great warrior. He'll make this as painless as possible. He's going to make it quick and painless for you. So she's basically just letting him know he's about to go. But once again, she doesn't interact and talk to I think his name was Jamis, but she doesn't talk to Jamis, the black guy. She just talks to the white guy. And then she gives him a weapon to fight with. And then, of course, the white guy prevails. She doesn't go to the black guy's body and looks over him and helps him out. She doesn't even help carry him when they're carrying his body and preparing his body in their ritual manner and, extracting the water, the water, the H2O from his body. She doesn't even talk to him. She doesn't talk to any black character in that movie. She only deals with the white characters. I don't make this up. And when you look at all of the other black characters in the movie, once again, there were very few, probably maybe 5 at the most. They really don't have long speaking roles. They're more like consultants, or, they always put black people in roles where we're like spiritual advisors or moral advisors, and they kind of play that role as well. And most of the black guys play that role. Well, there's another thing that's going on in this movie, and that is they always give black women a position of power. Zendaya has a power in her group. She's kind of like a leader in her group. She has a lot of speaking roles in the movie. The black people don't. The black men don't. They don't. They have a presence. They're there, but they're not there. They're in the background. And if they do speak, they may speak for maybe 20 seconds, and then their lines are done. Zendaya has a very powerful role. It's also another black female. She's in the movie and she has a very powerful role. And you can feel the authority in her when she's playing. She's playing like an ecologist or something on that planet. And so she's kind of working with the Iraqis, or I forget what race those people are. She's working with the white group that came there to mine for spices, and she's directing them in the ways, and she's being very authoritative and being very direct. And her voice, there's a lot of confidence, and there's a lot of authority in her voice. You don't see that from the black men. It's a lot more advising, calm, almost submissive in a way. So those are the things that I've noticed with the movie Dune. But I do, once again, I do appreciate Movie Girl 8648 for recommending that I do that, because I love getting feedback. It goes to show me that someone's watching and that someone cares, and I do appreciate that. But so this is my just assessment of Hollywood in black and white for the movie Dune. If you have any comments, drop them in the comments section. If there's some things that you noticed about Dune 1 and Dune 2 that I didn't cover, or maybe you want me to do a Hollywood in black and white on some other show or on some other movie, and hopefully I'll get time to do it. But also definitely hit the like and subscribe button. Once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. Take care.